You feel it, don't you? That hot, acidic surge in your chest when someone challenges you. The conversation shifts, the air thickens, and suddenly it's no longer about understanding, it's about winning. It's the moment your mind becomes a fortress, your words become weapons, and the person in front of you becomes the enemy. You've tasted that victory. You've delivered the final crushing blow of logic, watched them retreat in silence, and stood alone on the battlefield of the dinner table, the Zoom call, the text thread. But look closer, warrior. Look at the wreckage. That victory feels strangely hollow, doesn't it? It tastes like ash. It's the lonely triumph of a king who has conquered a kingdom of ghosts. This is your arena. The late-night argument with your partner that spirals into a war over who remembers a detail correctly. The passive-aggressive email chain at work where you dismantle a colleague's idea piece by piece, not because it's wrong, but because your ego demands a public execution. In these moments, a voice inside you, the voice of your weakness, takes command. It's a venomous whisper. Do not back down. If you concede, you are weak. They will lose respect for you. This ends only when they admit you are right. This is the lie you've mistaken for a survival instinct. It's the tyrant in your head that promises you strength but delivers only isolation, trading every chance for connection for the cheap, fleeting thrill of being correct. You are intelligent. You are articulate. And that, warrior, is the very heart of your curse. Your mind, a tool meant for building bridges, has been weaponized into a battering ram. You see every conversation as a potential fight for territory, every disagreement as a threat to your identity. And the cost? It's the quiet resentment in the eyes of those you love. It's the reputation you've earned as difficult, argumentative, exhausting. You win the battle of words but lose the war for peace. You stand guard over a mountain of hollow victories while your inner world is in a constant simmering state of agitation. You crave tranquility, but your own mind has declared war on it. What if I told you there is a code, a set of brutally effective weapons forged not in a monastery but on the frozen battlefields of Germania by an emperor who commanded the most powerful army on earth? A philosophy designed not for debate, but for dominion. Dominion over the only enemy that truly matters, your own runaway ego. This isn't about learning clever comebacks or psychological tricks. This is about re-engineering the very goal of communication. It's about learning to protect your inner citadel, your peace, your virtue, instead of trying to conquer the worthless territory of another person's opinion. It is the art of winning by refusing to fight. Before we unsheathe the first blade, you must prove your discipline. Warriors do not enter the arena without commitment. Your first drill starts now. Subscribe to this channel and hit the like button. This isn't for an algorithm, it's a declaration of intent. It is your first act of conscious discipline in this new war. Then go to the comments and write down your oath, the phrase that will guide your battle. It can be simple. My peace is not for sale. Or, I command my ego. Or, I will not trade connection for correctness. This is your first volley, your first strike against the weakness within. In the next few minutes, I will arm you. I will deliver. The 4 brutal phrases of Marcus Aurelius, phrases that act as shields, designed to silence any argument, disarm any aggressor, and starve your ego of the conflict it craves. These are not words of surrender. They are declarations of ultimate power, the power to choose your own inner state regardless of the chaos outside. This is your path to trading the exhausting addiction of being right for the unshakable strength of being calm. The forge is lit. Your training begins now. Let's be brutally honest, warrior. This need to be right isn't a personality quirk. It's a disease. It's a cancer of the ego that begins as a tiny, malignant cell that, well, actually, you drop into a conversation. That irresistible urge to correct a minor factual error. You feel a small, satisfying spark, a jolt of superiority, but the disease feeds on those sparks. It grows. Soon, it's not enough to be right about facts. You must be right about opinions, interpretations, memories. Your mind has become an autoimmune system, attacking any foreign thought with lethal precision. It has forgotten how to build, and now only knows how to destroy. The modern world is its perfect breeding ground, a digital coliseum of comment sections and endless debates, where every keyboard warrior is armed and your ego is always on the front lines. Now, look at the wreckage in your own home. Look at the person you claim to love most. You think you're engaging in a logical debate over finances or who was supposed to take out the trash, but what they see is an executioner. They see their feelings, their perspective, their reality being systematically dismantled on the cold altar of your logic. Watch their eyes next time. They don't glaze over with defeat. They harden with resignation. They stop sharing. They stop dreaming with you. Why would they? Every vulnerability they offer is a potential target for your next crushing argument. You are winning yourself into a silent, lonely kingdom, salting the earth, where intimacy was supposed to grow, and you have the audacity to wonder why you feel so alone. This poison seeps into your work. You call it maintaining high standards or intellectual rigor. Your colleagues have another name for it: impossible. In meetings, you aren't a collaborator. You are a roadblock. You don't listen to understand. You listen for weaknesses, for logical fallacies to exploit. You dismantle a junior colleague's idea not to make it better, but to demonstrate your superior intellect. You've become the dragon guarding a treasure no one wants, because getting past you is too exhausting. So, they rout around you. The best projects, the promotions, the opportunities for real leadership, they go to those who can build bridges, not burn them. You're the smartest person in a room no one wants to be in. And what about your body? Do you think it doesn't keep score? Your body is the battlefield where this war is truly waged. Feel it now, the tension in your jaw, the permanent knot in your shoulders, the acid churning in your gut as you replay an argument from hours ago, sharpening your retorts for a battle that's already over. You are marinating in cortisol, the stress hormone of a creature under constant threat. But the threat isn't the lion in the savannah, it's your partner's differing opinion on a movie. You are slowly, methodically destroying your own health, trading your vitality and your sleep for the cheap, fleeting drug of being proven correct. You are trading a long life of peace for a short, agitated reign over pointless debates. That voice inside you, the one screaming for victory, you think it's your ally. You think it's the commander protecting your fortress. It's not. It is a traitor. It is the voice of your deepest insecurity, a terrified child hiding behind a wall of facts and syllogisms. It whispers, if they prove you wrong, you are worthless. If you concede, you are weak. It's a lie forged in fear. It equates being wrong with being inadequate. And because you are terrified of being inadequate, you have declared a world war on every single person who might expose that fear. You are not defending your strength, you are desperately trying to hide your own perceived weakness. You believe this addiction gives you control. This is the greatest delusion of all. You have zero control. Your inner peace is a puppet, and anyone with a different opinion can pick up the strings and make you dance. A stranger on the internet, a misinformed relative, a colleague with a bad idea, they own you. They can dictate your emotional state for hours, even days. All they have to do is disagree with you. This isn't power, warrior. This is the most pathetic form of slavery. True power, true dominion, is the ability to stand in the middle of a hurricane of dissent and remain utterly, unshakably calm. It is the ability to decide that your tranquility is not for sale at any price. So, let's look down the road you're on. Let's see the future you are forging with every victory. It's a future of quiet holidays, of phone calls that become shorter and less frequent, a career that hits a glass ceiling you built yourself. It's a life where you are respected for your intelligence, but never sought for your wisdom or warmth. Imagine yourself years from now, sitting in a room filled with the trophies of your intellectual conquests, an arsenal of facts and figures, and the crushing, silent proof that you were right all along. But the room is empty. There is no one there to share it with. Look at that lonely future, warrior, and answer this one question. Was it worth it? This is not a new war, warrior. Do you think you are the first to feel this fire? Do you believe this sickness of the soul is a product of your time, born of social media and 24-hour news cycles? You are mistaken. The poison that runs through your veins is ancient. The Stoics, the generals, senators, and emperors who ruled the known world, diagnosed this very plague 2,000 years ago. They saw it in the Roman Forum, in the barracks, and in their own palaces. They saw men of immense power brought to their knees, not by barbarian hordes, but by their own pathetic, desperate need to have the last word. They gave this disease a name. They called it a failure to live according to nature, a madness born from a mind at war with reality itself. The first law of this reality, the foundational law of the Stoic warrior, is brutally simple. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. Your thoughts, your judgments, your choices, your inner peace, these are your domain. This is the only territory you can ever truly command. Everything else, the opinions of others, their conclusions, their feelings, their agreement, that is foreign land. It is outside your control. Every single time you fight to win an argument, you are committing the most amateurish of strategic blunders. You are launching an all-out assault on a fortress you can never conquer, another person's mind. You are wasting your lifeblood, your energy, your tranquility, trying to seize territory that was never meant to be yours. This isn't strength, it's insanity. The Stoics understood that this insanity begins with a single act of treason. An impression, a thought, appears in your mind. The impression says he is questioning your intelligence. If you don't crush his argument, you will look weak. And you, warrior, you believe it. You salute this traitorous thought and march to its orders. Epictetus, a slave who became one of the most revered Stoic teachers, would tell you to treat such thoughts like a treacherous scout. Challenge them. Ask, are you what you appear to be? Is it truly a threat to your existence if your partner remembers a date differently? Or is it just an impression, a phantom, a ghost whispering lies to stoke the fires of your ego? You are taking commands from a shadow. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, spoke endlessly of the inner citadel. This is the fortress of your mind, the one place in the universe that can remain unconquered if you so choose. But look at what you do. The moment a disagreement arises, you don't raise the drawbridge and man the walls. You throw the gates wide open. You charge out onto the battlefield, leaving your citadel completely undefended, all to fight over a worthless patch of dirt called being right. You allow the chaos of another person's opinion to storm into your inner world, to pillage your peace, to burn your tranquility to the ground. Your need to win isn't a defense of your fortress, it is the act of handing the keys to the enemy. This is why the Stoics divided the world into what is essential for a good life, virtue, and what is not. Your reputation, whether people think you are smart, whether you win a debate, these were called preferred indifference. Nice to have like a polished shield, but utterly non-essential to victory in the war of life. You, warrior, have this backward. You are trading what is essential for what is indifferent. You are selling your virtue, your patience, your kindness, your peace, for the cheap validation of being correct. You are a king trading his entire kingdom for a handful of shiny pebbles. You are sacrificing your character on the altar of your ego, and you have the audacity to call the resulting pile of ash a victory. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, called anger a brief madness. This compulsive need to win is its cousin, a chronic low-grade insanity. It is a complete surrender of your highest faculty, your reason, to your lowest, most primitive impulses. You think you look powerful in the heat of an argument, your logic a sharpened spear. But to a Stoic, you look like a child. You look like someone who has no command over their own mind, a slave to every passing provocation. True power, the power they cultivated, is the opposite. It is the unshakable calm of a mountain in a storm. It is the discipline to see the provocation for what it is, bait for the weak, and to refuse it. So, this is the diagnosis, warrior. Your suffering is not a mystery. It is the predictable, inevitable result of a mind that does not understand its own nature. It is a failure of strategy, a failure of discipline, a failure to distinguish friend from foe within your own skull. You have been fighting the wrong war, on the wrong battlefield, for the wrong prize. You have been trying to conquer the world outside when the only enemy that can truly defeat you has set up its command post inside your own head. The diagnosis is complete. Now, we must forge the weapons to cut this cancer out. The time for diagnosis is over. Now, we forge the law. This is not a theory. It is not a suggestion. It is the first brutal law of the Stoic warrior. And from this moment forward, you will treat it as gravity. You will not negotiate with it. You will not question it. You will obey it, or you will be broken by your own weakness. The law is this: you will defend only the territory you command. That is all. Your judgments, your choices, your will, your inner peace. This is your sovereign land, the inner citadel. Everything else, the opinions of others, their agreement, their anger, their perception of you, is foreign territory. It does not belong to you. It is and always will be outside of your control. To waste a single drop of energy trying to conquer it is an act of treason against yourself. For your entire life you have been a rogue general, waging a foolish and devastating war on foreign soil. Every time you engage in an argument to change someone's mind, you are abandoning your post. You are leaving the gates of your own kingdom undefended and launching a bloody, pointless assault on a fortress you can never take. You think you are fighting for respect, for truth, for victory. You are a fool. You are fighting for nothing. You are firing cannons at the moon. You are screaming at the tide to turn back. This isn't a strategy. It's a temper tantrum. It is the most pathetic waste of a warrior's resources, and it ends now. Your new map of the world has only two domains: inside the walls of your mind and outside. That is it. The argument with your partner about who said what. That is the weather, the condescending email from your colleague. That is the wind, the ignorant comment from a stranger online, a passing cloud. You do not declare war on the weather, warrior. You secure your fortress. You check your foundations. You ensure your inner world is calm and orderly, regardless of the hurricane raging outside. Your new mission is not to calm the storm. Your mission is to become the man or woman who cannot be moved by it. This is the only victory that matters. This is how the enemy breaches your walls. A thought appears, an impression. She is disrespecting you. You must prove her wrong. This is the voice of the traitor. This is the scout from the enemy army, whispering lies to lure you out. From behind your defenses, the undisciplined mind hears this voice and thinks it is his own. He salutes and charges blindly onto the battlefield. The Stoic warrior stops that traitor at the gate. He challenges it. You are just a thought. You are a phantom. My peace is my own, and you have no authority here. You must learn to see these impulses not as part of you, but as an invading force that must be identified, isolated, and destroyed on sight. Let's redefine victory, because your definition has made you weak. Victory is not hearing the words, "You were right." That is a beggar's prize, a scrap of validation thrown to you by someone else. True victory is ending a heated conversation and feeling your pulse remain steady. It is walking away from a pointless debate with your tranquility not just intact, but stronger than before. It is the quiet, unshakable power you feel when you realize that another person's disagreement has zero power to disturb your inner peace. You win the moment. You decide that the state of your own soul is more important than the state of the argument. You win by refusing to play their game. Think back to the last time you were dragged into this pointless combat. Feel it, the hot surge of adrenaline, the tension coiling in your gut, the mental exhaustion afterward. That is the price you pay for violating the first law. That is the feeling of your lifeblood draining away into the dirt of another person's opinion. Now imagine that same moment. The trigger is pulled, the bait is offered, but this time you apply the law. You see the provocation, and you silently tell yourself, this is foreign territory, not my war. Feel the shift. Feel the power surge back into you. That feeling, warrior, is the feeling of control. Not control over them, control over you. That is the only control there is. This law is now your shield. It is your compass. It is your commanding officer. Before you speak, before you type, before you act, you will ask the question, am I defending my citadel or am I invading foreign land? If the answer is the latter, you stand down. You will learn to love the feeling of letting go. You will become addicted to the profound strength that comes from refusing to engage in battles that cannot be won. You will guard your peace with the ferocity of a wolf guarding its kill. This is your first oath, your first step out of the slavery of the ego and into the dominion of the self. Your training has begun. So you have the law, a map to a fortress you didn't even know you were supposed to be defending. But a map is just ink on paper until your boots hit the mud. A law is just a whisper until it is forged into instinct through the fire of action. Now is the time to take this principle out of the realm of philosophy and turn it into a weapon you can wield in the chaos of your daily life. This is where the steel is tempered. We are going to walk through the fire of your own weakness, and I am going to show you step by brutal step how to apply this law when the enemy is at your gates. Pay attention, warrior. The battle simulation begins now. The arena, a meeting. A colleague dripping with condescension publicly dismisses your idea. You feel it, that hot familiar surge. The traitor in your skull screams, attack! He is making you look foolish. Annihilate his position. Defend your honor. This is the moment of truth. The old you would have unsheathed your tongue and gone for the throat. But the warrior applies the law. You identify the attack for what it is, noise, an event in foreign territory. His opinion, his tone, his insecurity, that is his kingdom of dirt, not yours. You have one piece of ground to defend, your inner calm. You consciously choose not to surrender your peace for a pointless skirmish. You can respond calmly or not at all. You remain centered, unbreached. You have just won the only battle that mattered, not by fighting, but by refusing to be dragged into the mud. Now the fire gets hotter. The enemy is not an insult, but a genuine loss. You failed at a project. You lost a client. You were passed over for a promotion. The voice of your ego now morphs into the voice of despair. This is a catastrophe. You are a failure. Your career is over. This is the siege. The undisciplined mind allows this invading army of judgment to swarm the citadel and burn it to the ground. But you, the Stoic warrior, you apply the law. The event, the failure, is external. It has happened. It is now part of the landscape, like a mountain or a river. It is outside your control, but your judgment about the event, that is entirely within your command. You can choose to see it as a catastrophe, or you can see it as feedback. You can see it as the end, or you can see it as a lesson. The event is neutral. Your interpretation is the weapon that either saves you or destroys you. You defend your citadel by choosing the interpretation that serves you. Let's turn the weapon inward. The enemy is not out there, it is inside the walls. It is the soft, seductive whisper of laziness on a cold morning. The alarm rings. Your mission is clear. The gym, the project, the discipline you swore to uphold. But the traitor whispers, just 5 more minutes, you're tired, you deserve it. The world won't end. This is the most dangerous insurgent of all. The law still applies. The feeling of tiredness, that is an external sensation, a piece of data. In from your body, the comfort of the bed, an external circumstance. These things are not you. Your will, your choice to honor your commitment, that is the only territory you command. You apply the law by separating your decision from your feeling. You choose to rise, not because you feel like it, but because you are in command. You are the emperor, not the feeling. Every time you obey that choice over that feeling, you strengthen the walls of your citadel. Do you see the pattern, warrior? In every scenario, the insult, the failure, the temptation, the mechanism of your slavery has been the same. An external event occurs, and you immediately fuse it with a knee-jerk judgment that sets your inner world on fire. You have been living your life as if there is no space between stimulus and response. That space, that tiny fraction of a second before you react, is everything. It is the entire kingdom. It is the ground where freedom is won or lost. The first brutal law is the tool you use to pry. That space open. It allows you to see the incoming arrow, the insult, the setback, the feeling, and to decide consciously whether you will let it pierce you. This is the brutal, liberating truth. Nothing outside of you can harm your inner state without your active participation. You have been a willing co-conspirator in your own suffering. This is not a skill you learn by listening. It is a muscle you build through repetition. So, we will drill. This is your first practical ritual. The premeditation of disagreement. Every morning for 2 minutes, you will close your eyes and you will do battle. Visualize the most likely conflict of your day. See your partner bringing up that old issue. Hear your boss's critical tone. Imagine the ignorant comment on your social media feed. Feel the old, hot, ego-driven reaction begin to swell in your chest. Let it rise, and then, with conscious, deliberate force, you will apply the law. You will say to yourself, this is foreign territory. My peace is not for sale. Rehearse letting the insult fly past you. Practice choosing calm. You are building the muscle memory of the soul, so that when the real arrows fly, your shield comes up by instinct, not by panicked thought. This is the dawn of your sovereignty. With this one law, you are no longer a refugee, fleeing from one emotional storm to the next. You are no longer a slave to the opinions of others or the whims of your own feelings. You are the commander. You are the guard at the gate of your own mind. You decide what comes in and what stays out. This is not about becoming unfeeling or passive. It is the exact opposite. It is about becoming so fiercely in control of your own inner world that you can engage with the outer world with true strength, clarity, and purpose. You have learned the foundational law. You have drilled it. Now, you are ready for the specific weapons of engagement, the 4 brutal phrases that will allow you to walk through any argument and emerge not only unscathed, but stronger. Do you feel it, warrior? The silence. Not the tense, suffocating silence after a battle won, but the deep, resonant silence of a fortress at peace. This is the first consequence of your discipline. Look back at the ghost of who you were, the man or woman constantly scanning the horizon for a fight, muscles coiled, mind racing with preemptive rebuttals. That person was a slave, perpetually exhausted, a guard in a prison of his own making. Now, look at yourself in the mirror. The lines of tension around your eyes have softened. There is a stillness in your posture. You are no longer a reactor, a puppet whose strings can be pulled by any fool with an opinion. You are a commander. You have reclaimed the territory of your own soul, and the quiet strength that emanates from you is more powerful than any argument you ever won. This newfound gravity changes how the world responds to you. Before, people approached you with caution, their shields already raised, expecting a fight. You were known as sharp, intelligent, but also difficult, exhausting. That reputation was a cage. Now they see a bastion of calm in a world of chaos. In meetings, when others are losing their composure, they look to you. Your silence is now more influential than your words ever were. Your partner, who once braced for impact, now brings you their vulnerability, knowing it will be met not with a cross-examination, but with strength and space. You haven't become softer. You have become stronger. You are no longer a sharp piece of glass. You are a mountain. People don't argue with mountains. They seek their shelter. This is the taste of true freedom. The freedom from the desperate, gnawing need for validation from others. You used to think freedom was the ability to say whatever you wanted, to win any debate. What a pathetic definition. That was not freedom. It was compulsion. It was an addiction. True freedom is the ability to stand in a storm of criticism, disagreement, and even outright insult, and feel nothing but the solid ground beneath your feet. It is the liberation that comes from realizing that your worth is not determined in the court of another person's opinion. It is forged every single day in the discipline of your own mind. You have broken the chains not by fighting your jailer, but by realizing the prison door was never locked. Look at your relationships, now irrigated by peace instead of salted with conflict. That recurring, circular argument with your partner, it has vanished, not because the issue was resolved in your favor, but because you chose to prioritize connection over correctness. When a disagreement arises, you no longer see an opponent to be defeated. You see a person you love trying to be understood. You have learned to listen, not with the ears of a prosecutor searching for a flaw in their logic, but with the heart of a fellow warrior. In that space you've created, intimacy is finally growing. You are no longer winning arguments and sleeping in a cold bed. You are building a shared kingdom on the foundation of mutual respect. This power radiates into your professional life. You were once the smartest person in the room, and it made you a roadblock. Now, you are the wisest, and it makes you a leader. You no longer dismantle ideas to prove your superiority. You ask questions that build them up. Your calm under pressure becomes a legendary asset. You de-escalate conflict not with clever tactics, but with your very presence. Opportunities that were once routed around you now flow directly to you because people of substance are drawn to those who possess unshakable inner stability. You are no longer climbing a ladder of ego. You are building an empire of influence brick by brick with the mortar of your own disciplined character. And your body, the faithful soldier that bore the brunt of your old war, is finally at peace. The constant tension in your jaw has released. The knot in your shoulders that you carried for years has dissolved. You no longer lie awake at night replaying arguments, your mind a battlefield of what you should have said. You sleep the deep, restorative sleep of a warrior whose citadel is secure. You are no longer marinating your cells in the acidic poison of cortisol and adrenaline. You feel a clean, steady surge of energy, the vitality that comes when your mind is no longer at war with the world. You are living in a body that is no longer in a state of emergency, but in a state of command. This is the ultimate outcome of the Forge, warrior. You have undergone the most profound alchemy. You have transformed the leaden weight of your ego into the golden strength of your character. You did not add anything to yourself. You did not learn a new trick. You simply burned away what was weak. You stripped away the delusion that victory lay anywhere outside the walls of your own mind. The day you stopped trying to win arguments was the day you won the only war that ever mattered. You looked your greatest enemy, that desperate, insecure need to be right, square in the eye, and you chose to walk away. And in that surrender, you found a power greater than you ever imagined. You found yourself. The laws have been delivered. The weapons are in your hands. But a sword, no matter how sharp, is just a piece of metal if it hangs on the wall. It only becomes an extension of your will through the discipline of the daily drill. A warrior is not forged in a single moment of insight. He is hammered into shape, day after day, in the cold grey light of dawn. Philosophy is not a book you read. It is a muscle you build. And your training ground is not a quiet monastery. It is the first 2 minutes of your day, before the world has a chance to throw its first punch. This is where you will win the war before the first battle has even begun. This ritual is called the premeditation of disagreement. It is your morning war game. Before you check your phone, before you drink your coffee, before you surrender your mind to the chaos of the day's demands, you will give 2 minutes to your commanding officer, your own disciplined will. Find a place where you can be undisturbed. Close your eyes. This is not a meditation to find bliss. This is a combat simulation to forge resilience. Your mission is to face the enemy in the controlled environment of your mind so that you are not surprised when you meet him on the open battlefield of your life. This is the practice of the commander, not the monk. Now you will summon the enemy. Project onto the screen of your mind the most likely point of conflict in the day ahead. See the face of the colleague who always challenges you. Hear the specific, condescending tone they use. Visualize the meeting where your ideas will be questioned. Or perhaps the enemy is closer to home. See the argument with your partner that you know is simmering just below the surface. Feel the tension of that conversation before it happens. Do not shy away from this, warrior. You must intentionally trigger the old weak response. Feel the heat rise in your chest. Feel your jaw tighten. Feel the ego screaming its ancient, pathetic war cry. Prepare for battle. We must win. This is the critical moment. As that wave of weakness crests, you will deploy your weapon. In your mind, you will see yourself standing firm, not reacting. You will hear the provocation. And instead of launching your counterattack, you will rehearse your chosen defense. You will practice letting the words fly past you like arrows in the wind, harmlessly impacting the stone wall of your inner citadel. Rehearse saying one of the brutal phrases, "You may be right." Feel the power in that admission, the power of choosing peace over the petty need for validation. See the scene play out, but this time you are not a participant in the chaos. You are the calm center of the storm. The goal of this drill is not to predict the future. The goal is to build instinct. You are carving new pathways in your brain, creating a spiritual muscle memory. You are training your soul to default to strength, not to reactivity. Every time you run this simulation, you are weakening the chains of your old habits and forging new ones made of steel. You are teaching yourself at the deepest possible level that your inner peace is non-negotiable. You are making the choice for tranquility so many times in private that when you are tested in public, the choice is no longer a choice. It is an instinct. It is who you are. Do not skip this drill. Do not tell yourself you are too busy. The 2 minutes you dedicate to this war game will save you hours of agitation, anger, and regret. This is the most important work you will do all day. It is the sharpening of your sword, the polishing of your shield, the fortification of your walls. It is the quiet, unseen discipline that separates the warrior from the worrier. The world will throw its chaos at you today, as it does every day. Let it. You have already faced the enemy and won. You have already secured your citadel. Now you can walk into the day not hoping for peace, but carrying it with you. Begin. Your 2 minutes start now. The forge is cooling, but the steel of your will is now tempered. Let us review the laws of this new kingdom you command. The first brutal law stands above all. You will defend only the territory you command. Your inner citadel, your peace, your choices, your character, is the only ground worth dying on. Everything else is foreign land. The opinions, the anger, the agreement of others, it is all smoke. The 4 phrases we forged are not swords to win their arguments. They are shields to protect your soul. This was never a war against another person. It was an exorcism, a brutal and necessary expulsion of the weakest part of yourself, the terrified ego that screamed for validation because it had none of its own. You are no longer that person. Look at your hands. They are not clenched into fists, ready for a fight. They are calm, open, ready to build. You are the Stoic warrior. Your strength is no longer measured by the cutting power of your words, but by the unshakable stillness of your mind. Your victory is not the silence of a defeated opponent, but the deep, resonant tranquility within you when the storm of disagreement passes. You have traded the cheap, fleeting drug of being right for the permanent, indestructible power of being in control of yourself. You have learned that true dominion is not found in conquering others, but in the absolute mastery of the self. But do not be mistaken. This is not the end of the war. This is the end of your training and the beginning of a lifetime of vigilance. The ego is not dead. It is a cunning, patient enemy. It is a shadow that will wait for a moment of fatigue, of stress, of weakness, and it will whisper its old, poisonous lies once more. This time it's different. This time you must fight. Discipline is not an achievement, it is a daily practice. Every morning you will light the forge. Every day you will face a new test. This is the path. It is hard, it is relentless, and it is the only path that leads to freedom. Your final decree, the motto you will carry into every battle from this day forward is this: let them win the argument. You will win the war for your peace, for your character, for your soul. Let them have the worthless territory of being right. You will hold the fortress of a life lived with honor and tranquility. This is the ultimate victory. This is the final brutal truth. The only opponent worth defeating was, and always will be, the weakness inside you. If this battle has ignited the fire of the warrior within you, then your duty is not over. Go to the comments now and write the phrase that will be your shield for the days to come. Make your oath public. This is your new war cry. Share this call to arms with another warrior who is fighting a war in silence and needs to be awakened. Subscribe to this channel to continue forging your mind. The discipline is daily. The work is never done. We will see you in the arena.